A dash of sun between two winter storms. Story popular in every human culture. Things go up, they come down, they go up again. 31,000 languages across the ages, it's estimated, 6,000 today. And we all recognise the similar patterns of story about what we hoped for, what we did, what we learnt, transformations and tipping points when things go from one state to another and there's no going back. We listeners, we recognise those patterns of story. This is what story is not: brand architecture, mission statement, advertising blurb, memes and statements. That shouty stuff, that's easy. The structure of story, that's much more difficult. But it is centred on up, down, up. Down, down, up, perhaps. Let me describe today 4 methods to help work your way through the structure of story. Prouds, transformation prouds. Unfortunately, fortunately, the transformation story spine, and then enrichments. So we start with prouds. We start with the things that we feel good about, where we cared, where we ourselves, our organisations, our project achieved something with intent. We tried to do something. So we begin by listing 5 prouds, maybe 10, but 5 is a good number. What you managed to change and how we could then use that in creating story. The point about doing this is that these are unique. You're already starting out on a footing that can't be copied by others because you're bringing this from your own perspective. We immediately recognise when there's been some transformation that's improved people's lives. Number 2, method 2, fortunately, unfortunately. So take a proud and then structure a series of unfortunately, fortunately, or fortunately, unfortunately statements. 5 rounds, 2 pairs of them, up, down arcs. Be honest about what went wrong. Things go wrong, they get better. Something else happens, then it goes well, then they get worse again. Kurt Vonnegut described this in a charming way about falling in a hole and getting out of a hole. He said that's the basic structure of story. People love that story. They never get sick of it, he says. That's what we are showing in story. We're in a hole. When you're looking up the slope, the shortest, quickest route from the bottom to the top is not a straight line. It's a zig and a zag and a zig and another zag. It's inventiveness and creativeness that comes with each of those changes in direction. So write it out. You'll find that the flow of action creates energy. We've got energy in our story already. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. The bigger the problem, the more payoff, the more energy there is in the solving of the problem. Write it out, and then at the end just cut out the fortunately, unfortunately bits. That's just a structure to get from early thinking into a kind of series of events that flow from each other and show these narrative arcs. Number 3, transformation spines. Pick another proud. Write the spine this time of causal transformation using these 7 clauses. Once upon a time, and every day, until one day, because of that and because of this, until finally, and ever since then, some statement. Use the present tense. Get inside the action if you can. The present tense has an advantage because it tells the listener you don't know what happens next, which we don't. Things could be good and they might not be good. So here's an example. Once upon a time. It follows a series of clauses, and ever since then, they and the sea have been happy. So be playful, play around with it. Give agency to nature, to animals and plants and parts of the landscape, and see where it leads you. Again, write the spine, and remove the 7 prompts. Bingo, you've got a story with just those 7 parts of it. Once upon a time, the famous story structure. Method 4. Now we want to enrich what we have been doing. Take a 1-inch frame or a stone with a hole, a 1-inch frame like this, or a stone with a hole this way, that way, and look through this and define your action as being within tight boundaries. What is happening in the story is made stronger and with more energy if it looks like everybody's inside the story and has to come up with solutions within it. There's no getting on a night bus and pushing off somewhere else because you're fed up. You're in the action. That's what we want to happen in story. So go in tight for emotion and detail and feelings. Mark the location. Think of the time of year. Think of the sounds and smells and tastes. How did it feel to people, that emotional subsong? What was the colour of the car? That bird that's singing, what is it? Do you want to say something about it? In Japan, they famously have 72 seasons of the year, each of 5 days. And they name them as a particular week. So here we could have Chiff Chaff singing week in spring, when they Chiff Chaff start singing, when they've just arrived. Bluebell viewing week, Spiders come inside week in early September. Be creative and playful, but there's a kind of naming to events that allows the story to take on energy. You can do the same with cultural rituals and events as well. Bonfire night, owl singing, fairs, the Oyster Festival is happening. You can use those cultural reference points again to give the weight to the story, to give it this kind of enrichment as well. So think how you would want to just add little enrichments to the story, having used those previous 3 methods. So top 4 concepts for story. Transformation and tipping points. That's the first thing. We must have transformations that we're going to recognize as listeners, as the audience. Up, down arcs, and up arcs of narrative. One thing following another thing. You have confidence that it's all solved, and then boom, a key person leaves and goes elsewhere, or the situation changes, or a policy changes, or we run out of money and suddenly a whole set of new challenges emerge. Up, down arc. Emotional connections with audience. The more there's kind of feeling and emotion in your story, reflected through words or reflected through body actions, small behavioural tics that give you clues as to what people are feeling. The more that happens, the more the audience buys into the emotional content of the story. And 4th, many paths suggested. Let the audience choose. There's a kind of choice architecture that works and gives people agency when we say, we didn't know what to do, we could have done this, 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 or this, and we did that in the end, having thought about it. And people buy into that kind of choice architecture. It gives them agency, which is one of the reasons for undertaking story. Be brutal when it comes to exposition. Cut out explanations, you don't need them. And admit vulnerability. That always helps. Ursula Le Guin said, imagination is subversive. And Penelope Lively said the true value of story is the power to suggest an alternative. So there you have 4 methods of story.